Welcome, week 9, Coleman's 2015 SBA 7A certified loan underwriting training. Welcome all. Welcome to a short week. Hope you have a nice 4th. Let's get into the questions. Oh, first, I want to welcome Andy from Piedmont Bank, a very late registrant. Andy, welcome. This is week 9. We have 1 week left. You can go back and access the office hours in the past. They've all been recorded. And we're also going to start something new, which for people who take it on demand and not in this format, I'm going to have a weekly office hour session. Anybody who has completed the course will be welcome to join as well, and we'll try that out and see what happens. Let's see, poll questions. Andy, you don't have to answer. Would you approve Gray's dry cleaning loan as presented? Yes, no, I may do it, but I have some additional conditions. Just want to see what your feedback is here. I need to access the Coles. Interesting. All of you are going to approve it, but you're going to have some additional conditions. I like it. I like the creativity. Question number 2. This is probably the condition. Would you require some type of seller carryback from Mr. Gray? I think I know where this one is. What was the old Johnny Carson? Answer is Karnak. Yeah, all of you want some sort of seller carryback from Mr. Gray. I think that's prudent. I have no issue with that. Which program would you use for the loan? We're going to go Express and get a 50% guarantee. We can charge up to prime 4.5. Use our own documents. Or we're going to go traditional 7A because we want that little higher guarantee. We don't mind doing a little bit more work for that. 20% of you are going to go Express. 80% are going to go traditional 7A. Interesting. I thought this would more of an Express type presentation, but I certainly have no issue with that. I certainly think getting the additional guarantee. This is not a competitive loan. We're not competing with someone else in the marketplace. We're in the driver's seat. We get to do it the way we want to do it. What value would you give the equipment? Now, there's only one wrong answer. So 3 or 4 are correct. Let's see if I can trip you up. We're going to go book value. We're going to go 50% of book or 80% of book, or we're going to go 50% of that liquidation value, or we're going to go 80% of liquidation value. And the wrong answer is 80% of book. Fortunately, none of you got that. You can go 50% of book. It's legitimate. You can do that. The SOP says that. We can choose to say, I don't like that. I want a full business appraisal of the assets. I just got a letter. I have no issue with that. And let's see, it's changed. 2/3 are going to go 50% of book, and 1/3 are going to go 50% of liquidation value. Both answers are permissible. I think it's more conservative presentation to say that. That for collateral purposes, we are going 50% of book. You may also want to include, however, we got this letter. I'm not going to do it in my underwriting because it's not a full appraisal. This is what we've talked about this week. We're heavily into the credit memorandum under 350. Last week we had some cleanup with SBA. We talked about franchise, business acquisition, assignment of lease and landlord waivers, and some construction loan provisions. Briefly mentioned the SBA Express template. Next week, well, let's go to these questions, then I'll talk about next week. Please review when I need to have the loan fully collateralized. I know that this is a requirement of an alien resident. I assume it is not for legal. That's correct. But his green card expires in 9 years. Can I offer 10-year maturity? Yes, you can. Can you go 7 years? Yes. Can you go 9 years? Yes. What the requirement is for an alien resident is the loan has to be fully collateralized. If Mr. Wong was an alien resident, we could not do this loan structured without being fully collateralized. We would also have to have the guarantee of an on-site manager in this, under that scenario. But in our scenario, he is a legal resident. He has a green card. We can do the loan. Number 2, I would only approve the loan for the value of the collateral. Yeah, I saw that one coming. And force Sam to take the rest of the purchase price. However, I will allow interest payments on the note. Is this permissible? The answer is no. For the first 2 years. After 2 years, you can allow interest. But the first 2 years, no interest payments. Even if you structure it that way, I would put in the interest payments in the cash flow, even though we're not going to do that, to make sure it does cash flow in year 3. One of the things I thought about is what would happen if Mr. Gray hung around and showed up once a month and tinkered with the equipment in the back. Would we allow that? SBA, the SOP is agnostic. It is on your shoulders. Do you want to allow that type of relationship? A, do you think that is simply muddying the waters, allowing payments when it shouldn't be allowed? Or do you say, hey, that's pretty cool. We're going to let this guy go in. We're going to save some money. He can be involved. That's your call. I would disclose it. I would put it in the underwriting, in the memorandum. But that's your call. You can go either way on that. My bank doesn't do SBA express loans. What would the advantage be to process this loan as an express loan? Are the underwriting requirements less stringent? Do we need to get a separate agreement from SBA to be able to process express loans? No. You're covered from that under the agreement. Are the underwriting requirements less stringent? The SBA express requirements are the same as your conventional loans. So whatever you do on a conventional loan basis is what you can do on a express loan. That's the advantage of going express. The underwriting requirements are whatever you do for your normal loans. The advantage, you get a higher interest rate, prime 4.5. You get to use your own forms. It's a 50-50 deal. Some banks like it, and usually it's the larger banks that embrace the express. The smaller community banks, credit unions want the additional guarantee. Both sides are permissible from that standpoint. Week 10. You're going to like week 10. We get into preparing the credit memo for loans over $350,000. We talk about Franklin Brothers extensively. We talk a little bit about loan authorization and loan agreement. It's a fun, I finished it the other day. It's a fun presentation. I think you'll like it. And as remember, and as I will have, so next week will be the final week. We will post the final. It will be 50 questions. You have the option to write a credit memo on either Gray's or Franklin Brothers. I would encourage you to do that. Even if you don't do that, send me a couple paragraphs on what you think about the case studies and how you would structure it. I'd be interested to see on that, just for my feedback. Reading materials, nothing heavy. Oh, we have the Wizard authorization boilerplate, 78 pages PDF. I put that in there. Skim it. You don't need to read it. There's nothing to memorize out of there. I just skim it, take 15 minutes and go and take a look at it, see what's in there. You should know what's in there. You certainly don't need to know everything, but you need to know, for example, if I'm in Missouri, I have separate state requirements, and all of a sudden I want to do a loan in Illinois, I need to use those. So there's also a loan agreement in there. I talk about the loan agreement. The heads up on the loan agreement is, unless you're willing to enforce the covenants, and if you don't do it for your conventional loans, I wouldn't do the loan agreement. Now, if you do a loan agreement for $2 million long-term real estate loan, conventionally, then you're going to do it. I don't think a lot of you out there are doing that. So my takeaway is, don't do it unless you're willing to call the loan, willing to enforce the covenants. We'll go through those from them. And everything you have, we've done before. There's nothing new in the reading materials, but I put them back up there. We did this, a month ago, so I should refresh everyone. And that's it. Do we have any questions, Joseph? Everyone enjoy the 4th. Next Friday, we will have our wrap-up office hours. Andy, don't worry. You don't need to do all 8 weeks at once. But, Andy, feel free to ask me a question wherever you are in the training. And it's flown by. I've enjoyed it. I appreciate all the feedback. Have a nice 4th.